They say you don't have to pay taxes once you retire. Whoever they are couldn't be more wrong. The tough reality is that taxes will continue to follow you even when your income is fixed. Thankfully, there are ways to lessen the impact. For that, we turn to the expert at Safe Harbor Retirement Group. Cory Sickles, president of Safe Harbor, is back with great advice. Thanks for being here today, Cory.
I'm glad to be here.
I imagine anytime you mention minimizing taxes, people are all ears. This is a big part of your job day in and day out, right, Cory?
Yeah, one of the things that I really try to do with our clients, and when we start talking about building financial plans, one of the first things you really want to talk about is income planning. But more importantly, you want to be able to put them in a position, when they do retire, that they're going to pay less in taxes. So if you don't do proper planning, there's a good possibility that you could actually be paying more in taxes than you are while you're working.
That's what I find unbelievable, Cory. How is that possible that you can actually pay more taxes in retirement?
First part that I would say is most people don't realize this, but a lot of times you are still within your same tax bracket when you do retire. So the taxes that we're actually, the tax brackets that everybody's in today are actually some of the lower that we're going to pay. Odds are taxes are going to go up. So when you retire, you replace a lot of your work income with Social Security, but you also now have to start taking money out of your IRAs or your 401ks or your 403bs or anything like that. Plus, maybe you might have some accounts that are actually have dividends and interest. And when you start adding all that up, odds are you're going to probably be within your same tax bracket that you're in today. But more than likely, taxes 5 or 10 years from now are going to be higher than they are today.
Wow, so it really is important to get this under control. And sadly, there is no magic way to not pay taxes, right, Cory?
There is not. You either got to pay taxes now or you got to pay taxes later. And I firmly believe that you should be in a situation where you pay the taxes today. And, there's a lot of different ways to be able to do that. But one of the things that you really want to be able to do more importantly, is just to position yourself to be able to pay those taxes today, because they are going to be lower. And hopefully, when you do retire and you start receiving income, you're going to be able to pay less. I always say it's not what you make, it's what you keep. So we try to be able to plan for our clients to be able to, pay taxes, less in retirement because you're going to have more spending power.
So where do we start in this process?
Well, one of the first things that I would do is you really need to look at your IRA accounts today. And one of the things that we try to do with a lot of our clients is we want you to be able to max out your tax bracket. And what I mean by that is you might actually have a little bit of, you might not be utilizing that entire tax bracket. If you're married, for example, and you're in a 12% tax bracket, that goes almost about $80,000. So one of the things you can do is start converting, and we've talked about, Roth IRAs, actually just talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but you can convert some of that IRA money to a Roth IRA, which means, yes, you're going to pay your taxes on it today, but more importantly, it's going to grow tax-free when you take it out. You're going to be, at that point, you don't really care what the taxes are. So one of the tools that we use for our clients today is we have what we call a found money report, which is going to really show you on how much money you can convert out of your IRA money to a Roth so it can begin to grow tax-free.
That's great. And how does life insurance, play a role in all of this, Cory?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's really a popular strategy right now. And one of the things that I always, when you start talking about life insurance, people go, well, I don't need any more death benefit. And really what we're doing is we're not using that for death benefit. What you're going to be able to do is put some of this money into a life insurance policy, and it's going to be able to grow tax-free. And the way it does work today is you get to invest in the market, again, with no, if the market drops, you don't lose anything, so you only get the upside potential of it. But more importantly, if you fund it the correct way, it's going to be able to provide tax-free income. You're not going to have to pay any capital gains. It's not going to be calculated on your Social Security taxes. If you're under the age of 59 and a half, for example, you can take a withdrawal out of that. There's no 10% penalty. But more importantly, whether it's a Roth IRA or a life insurance policy, when you turn 72, you're not required to take any type of not required to take any minimum distributions as well. So putting money into a life insurance policy not only is going to give you tax-free income, but it also can give you the benefit of a death benefit if something does happen. But it also can even be can help you with long-term care. So there's three things that it can do for you if you work with us. And one of the things that, just like everyone's situation is different, we can sit down with you to find out if a product like this works. And if it does, we can provide you some illustrations just so you can see how it can actually benefit you long term.
That's why it's so important to sit down with a professional like you, Cory. There's a lot to talk about here. So the first meeting is always complimentary, right?
That's correct. First meeting's complimentary. There's no obligations. I think it's worthwhile when we start talking about, again, financial planning or income planning for your retirement. It's always good to get a second opinion. We can provide that, again, no cost, no obligation. All you really need to do is visit our website at safeharboroh.com, or you can always call us at 614-760-0670 to set up a complimentary meeting with me.
Absolutely, and that information is on your screen. Thanks for joining us today, Cory.
Thank you.